If this trade is in fact done on July 26th, Bobby, the Lakers have only $24 million in cap space, as I understand it. So if they can't go out and get one of the huge names everybody knows, what can they do?
Well, this is what their roster right now looks like with this trade. And as you can see with Davis, LeBron James, and Kyle Kuzma, there's a lot of work to do. Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga are the two holdovers. And I think when we look at where we are, we know we're the 32.5, if that's pushed back to July 30th. It's $23.7 million in room. Splitting that money up into 2 or 3 players. They also have money to buy into the second round. That could be an option for them too. And also block out the noise. Who is that final decision maker? And I think when you look at what their options are going to be, they can go out and get a player like Bojan Bogdanovic. But here's where it gets complicated. If you put Bogdanovic in, now you're left with about $6 million in cap space. To still find a player like TJ McConnell for $6 million. And that would be kind of what your options are looking like. You can also put a player like Danny Green in there and add a player like Darren Collison. You also have the $4.8 million room mid-level exception, but there's a lot of work to do for this Lakers front office right now.
LeBron has a history of guys who sort of, I'm going to use the word follow him around because he brings people championships. If you can get the mid-level exception in any number of places, why not go do it in a place you might win? A lot of players like playing in Los Angeles. They might like playing with these two guys. Do we feel like that's going to be out there? Are there guys who might be willing to take a little less money to be a part of this?
Maybe a little less, but you're looking at situations here where you'd be asking guys to take a lot less. And I think a lot of LeBron's peers, the players who, the role players in Miami, Cleveland, a lot of them are either on the way out of the league or they're out of the league. And, you go down here, they need to get guard play. They need shooting. And, whether it's a Seth Curry, Trevor Ariza, another forward who had interest in going to the Lakers last year, has got history there. But they, like Bobby said, they don't have the money to go out and be really competitive in the marketplace. Even if they got to the $32 million and were able to sign a max player, they're better off dividing that up among several players. Because when you load up all your money in 3 players too and injuries happen, then you put a team on the floor that's non-competitive. They need depth to this roster.
It feels, to me, worth saying that this was a trade that was handed to the Los Angeles Lakers essentially by Anthony Davis and his management of Rich Paul and others. And the one piece of it that they had control over was when it would be finalized. And they don't seem to have gotten that part of it right. And right now it is putting them in a very bad situation. That said, this group right here, let's just use this as an example. Vegas has this as the favorite to win the NBA championship. Is this the best team in the West right now?
No, it isn't. And I think they're 3rd best in the West. And I look at Houston, all with the internal turmoil that's going on with Chris Paul and James Harden. And we haven't even talked about Denver. I mean, Denver, a team that won 54 games and returns 12 players and was 1 game away from the Western Conference Finals, is a better team than this Laker team right now.
Yeah, shout out Jalen, because Jalen has been all over Denver since before I heard anyone talking about how good they were. And the word is that Michael Porter Jr., the player they drafted last year who was injured all year, may be ready to really add for them. And Jokic is obviously a big star. What's your perspective on all this, Woj?
Yeah, I agree with that. So Denver is going to be a team that, to me, they'll almost assuredly have the best record in the West. They're built for that long regular season. You've seen, look at the teams this year who were in the Final Four: Milwaukee, Toronto, Golden State until they were decimated. You're seeing great depth, and Portland survived the injuries to Nurkic because they had depth, and it is hard to build a top-heavy team. Anthony Davis has traditionally missed games in the regular season. LeBron has been an Iron Man his entire career, but he did get injured last year, and he's in his mid-30s. And, how much are you going to ride him at this age? And you need players to get you through that really tough regular season grind, to get you seeding for the playoffs. And they're still a ways away from that.
Let me look at that, because there's being built for the regular season and there's teams that we expect to win in the playoffs. I'm buying Denver completely. They had good seasoning this year, 7 tough games with Portland. Houston, with the internal discord and all of the questions about whether a James Harden-centric offense wins postseason, I get they may finish with a better record than this group, but in a playoff series, if they put the right pieces around them, I think the Lakers have the potential for a deep run, and who knows what's going to happen in Houston. That's just one person's opinion.
There's a difference between regular season depth and playoff depth.
Right.
And when you get the playoff depth, if you're healthy, you can roll out 8 players like the Lakers possibly could do.
All right, we'll see. Obviously, a lot of these questions get answered between now and Thursday when we have the draft, and then between now and that first week in July when all hell breaks loose.